Giannis Antetokounmpo has been absolutely dominant in the past two regular seasons. He has averaged 29 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists, won 2 MVPs, won a Defensive Player of the Year, and the Bucks have been the best team in the regular season in both of those seasons. But this success has not fully translated to the playoffs. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about why Giannis consistently underperforms in the playoffs compared to expectations and how well he plays in the regular season. So, in the last two postseasons, the Bucks have been eliminated short of the NBA Finals by the Toronto Raptors in 2019 in the conference finals and the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference semifinals just this past year in 2020. In the Raptors series, Giannis would average 22.7 points, 13.5 boards, and 5.5 assists on poor efficiency. Obviously, Giannis is still a good player in the playoffs, and his defense still impacts the game. And, these aren't terrible stats, though he is playing, they are worse than his regular season stats, and he is playing more minutes in the playoffs. And in this Heat series in 2020, he'd averaged 22 points, 11 boards, and 5 assists, again on poor efficiency. And he did go down injured in one of those games, but his minutes per game are still more than his minutes per game in the regular season. And everyone who watched the series knew that he performed compared to how good he is in the regular season. So, why is that? I believe it's because his play style does not translate to playoff basketball well. And first, we have to talk about his play style. And Giannis is a player that gets a lot of his points and stats in transition. He is absolutely dominant. He's super fast, he's super big, he has those long strides, he has a good handle, and he's a good passer and good finisher at the rim. And all that translates to him being the best transition player in the NBA. The Bucks are also really good on defense, partially due to Giannis, which means they have a lot of opportunity in transition. And when Giannis is in transition, he's either going to get to the free throw line, get a dunk or a layup, or kick it out to a teammate for an open three, or pass it to a teammate for a layup. So these are some of the best possessions for the Bucks, and this is how Giannis gets a lot of his stats. And in the half court, it's a similar approach to in transition. He looks to attack the rim, beating defenders one-on-one, and then using his Euro steps and long strides to get to the rim and dunk it, or to get to the line, or to kick it out to shooters. Giannis is also a pretty good passer, so he's able to find his teammates quite easily. If we look at Giannis' shot chart, we can see that almost all of his shots are coming at the rim, and he's very efficient at the rim, and this has led to him winning 2 MVPs and not led to him winning a Defensive Player of the Year, but he's won a Defensive Player of the Year, and he's had crazy averages in the regular season, and the Bucks have been the best team, and it's clearly led to winning basketball in the regular season. But the problem with this is that Giannis is predictable. He doesn't have a variety of ways to score. He has about one or two, which is just attacking the rim. So when it's predictable, yes, it's hard to stop, but in a playoff series, you can game plan against this when you're spending more attention on how to stop the opposition. You're able to develop a better game plan on how to stop a player like Giannis. In the playoffs, the series also slows down and the pace is lower, so Giannis has less opportunities in transition, and that's going to take away some of his production. He is easier to game plan for, and teams have sort of figured out how to stop Giannis. He's still putting up good numbers, and he's still a net positive impact on the series and on the game, but teams have built a wall. They've done everything to prevent Giannis from getting to the rim, and they've dared the Bucks shooters to shoot and to make shots, and for Giannis to shoot threes. And so far it's worked, as the Bucks have fallen short of the finals in both seasons. So that's that's really the problem with Giannis' play style, is it's not as effective in the postseason. It's predictable, and it gets easier to game plan for in the playoffs. And there has been a proven way to stop it, which is building a wall around the rim and letting the Bucks shooter shoot. But how can Giannis fix this? Because I do still believe he can be the best player on a championship team, and I do still believe he's a very impactful player, not only from his defense, but he can improve his offense and can become less predictable in the playoffs, and the Bucks can succeed in the playoffs. And the first thing, this is a bit on the Bucks, is the Bucks just need better shooters around Giannis. Obviously, they got Drew Holiday in the offseason, and that's going to help because Eric Bledsoe just doesn't make shots in the playoffs. But the Bucks have got some good shooters, and they need to step up in the playoffs. Giannis is getting them the looks, but they're just not making it. And, once the defense no longer has to worry about guys like Brook Lopez and Eric Bledsoe in past years and guys like that, they're able to key in on Giannis and just make it their only priority, stopping Giannis to get to the rim. And then I think Mike Budenholzer also has to run some plays for Giannis where it's just not beat this guy and get to the rim, because he can't do that all the time. I'd like to see Giannis be the screener in pick and rolls more often. That is very effective. I think that's one of the reasons they got Drew Holiday, for him to be the ball handler in pick and roll situations, with Giannis setting the screen and rolling to the basket, because that scares you as a defense. And then also just some simple plays like a bit of off-ball movement, a few handoffs, stuff like that, to try and get Giannis going downhill easier and prevent the teams from building the wall. Another thing is Giannis can just improve his free throws. I know he's works very hard at that, and he's gotten to a decent rate in the regular season, but it always falls off in the playoffs, and that doesn't help at all, because those are free points at the line. It's called the charity stripe for a reason, and they're called free throws for a reason, and he should be making them at a higher rate in the playoffs. And those are just points you're leaving on the board. And then the fourth thing is the biggest thing, is I think he should prioritize getting a post game or just improving in the post more than he should prioritizing improving his 3-point shot. And here's why. With the 3-point shot, Giannis, he's hit or miss. Sometimes he'll make a few in a game. Sometimes, he won't. It averages out to him not shooting a great percentage. And I don't think he'll ever become an above average 3-point shooter. And teams are never going to guard Giannis at the 3-point line, because it's always going to be the lesser of two evils when he has the ability to get inside and to dunk and to do all the things he does so well and so efficiently, that just letting him shoot threes, it's not a big ideal, and you're actually happy to let Giannis shoot threes. So no matter how good his shot gets, up to a certain point, defenses just aren't going to guard him out there. With a post game, we've seen in the last two playoffs, he's been guarded by Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler, and Giannis has 4 or 5 inches on those guys in terms of height. So he should be able to bully them and shoot over them in the post, but he just hasn't, and he's been nullified by 2 very good defenders, but 2 smaller defenders. But if he were to get a post game, just like maybe a little jump hook, he already kind of has a spin move, just that type of thing. This would allow him to score easier. It's more versatility, where he can not only score driving and in transition, but he can also score in the post a bit. And that would really help him out, becoming less predictable and harder to game plan for, because all of a sudden you can't stick a smaller guy on him. And then if you stick a bigger guy on him, he's just not fast enough to keep up with Giannis. So I think Giannis should really try and get a post game, improve his free throws, and then the Bucks just need to hit their shots more in the playoffs. And I like the addition of Drew Holiday. Can help Giannis get some different looks. So to conclude, Giannis's playstyle it isn't suited in the playoffs, but it can be fixed and it can be helped by developing a post game, getting him some easier looks, getting better shooters around him, and just improving his free throws. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.